Hey everyone, this is Louis7 and I am streaming the Lord of the Rings Online. I'm going to be doing some Moria instances on my Beorning with my kinship, the Mithril League on the Anor Legendary server. So we've actually run through all of the regular 6-man instances in Moria, so we're going to be going back and doing some to finish out some deeds and just revisiting them, or re-revisiting them would be a better way to put it. But anyway, I think it will be fun to do some of these lower level ones now that we're kind of high level, probably a lot easier. But anyway, this is pretty much do this weekly on this character, and sometimes I run out of names for the streams or something like that if we are doing something new. But anyway, I think it should be fun going through these Moria instances, and I think we have a captain who we have not run with in the group. It's one of the players, one of their alts that's usually in this group, but kind of the goal I think is for some of us to be finishing out some deeds and quests and things like that. Okay, I had to fix my echo, but I think that is good now. The echo for myself, my stream was just playing back the audio right back into my headphones. But yeah, I think we're starting with the Grand Stair. I don't know if I specifically mentioned that, but this is a pretty fun one. It should be relatively easy for us. We do have one of our lower level characters again, but the last time we ran this, I think we actually ran this one a couple times, so we did do it once with our higher levels. But when we first ran this, it was actually pretty difficult because we were all low level and under geared and all that stuff. It was kind of exciting for other reasons. Now it's exciting to just be able to plow through everything basically. So yeah, I think we just have to wait for these orc NPCs to finish talking, and then we have one boss fight and then we run around. Are we going to do the challenge mode first? Okay, so I think I just asked if we were doing the challenge mode, and I think we are, so that means we have to run through pretty quickly and get to the last boss and actually skip all the side bosses, but then we can go back and get them later. I really enjoy these Moria instances though, so it's no problem for me to be going back and doing them. I don't know content wise on my channel if it gets a little bit repetitive that I'm just doing these over and over with a progression group on my kin since we're level capped at 60. But for me at least it's exciting to run these, and sometimes even just running them I wouldn't mind doing them even more often. It's just with streaming, especially on one class always tanking, it seems like it might be a little bit repetitive, but I'm not entirely sure. And this boss is fairly easy. The fight's going by super quickly here. Here's some loud cars out in the background. I don't know if it's picking up on the mic, but I'm just hearing tires screeching way back. So there is a stealth NPC here. Or two little goblin stealths that I used to when we initially ran this. I would always forget them, but now I actually do remember them a little bit. I think I lost one of the org riders way back there. For me also, I mentioned maybe like a little bit repetitive that I'm doing these on the same character, but I actually really like the Beorning tank. This is a fun class, I believe. I kind of feel like I should have a topic for the stream because there's really not too much for me to talk about discovering the content or doing like these instances for the first time, or even the first time on this character with this group. Oops, our roomkeeper died. I'm not sure. I think they just joined the group recently, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know where they died. Looks like back somewhere, or maybe they fell. I have no idea. So one thing that I can at least briefly talk about is update 28. I'm going to have a video on that tomorrow. But there are a couple frustrating things with that, really. Unfortunately, so right now I'd like to be excited for the update, but there are a few reasons I am not excited for it, and I just don't know right now. And that's kind of what the video is about, but that's just something to look forward to in the future. I don't know if anybody watching is really interested in that. I don't know my viewers in general. A lot of them seem to have done in-game content and things like that, but I think I get some viewers that are like leveling and just a large variety, and that's pretty much the same in-game. You know, maybe some YouTube channels that focus more on in-game content probably get more people focused on in-game as their viewers, and I have like a lot of general content, broad content. I do a lot of like leveling playthrough type things, and I have a lot of guides which are more oriented towards I wonder if somebody's going back to find people. I really have no idea what's going on with this group, but I'll just let them find their way, I suppose, as I tank this. We kind of need to go a little bit fast through this, and I think if one person went to pick somebody up, that should be good, but we need to go kind of fast through this just because for the challenge mode, we have to get to the first boss quick, so if somebody triggers, I think it's like the devoted triggers, and he'll join us in the boss fight, our second boss fight, really. Actually, I think we trigger the first boss, but don't even kill him, because it says do not kill, but maybe that doesn't include the first boss. I actually don't remember. I do know we skipped the warg boss here, though. But anyway, with what I was going on about with update 28, yeah, we can kill Narder. Oh, somebody stunned all these. That was a nice stun. Nice thing about the Beorning tank is they do have a strong cooldown to survive. Captain's taking a lot of damage though. I don't know if they have aggro on something. I don't see them having aggro on something, but they could have. But with update 28, this is something that happens a lot, just getting distracted talking about things as I'm going about the gameplay. But just with update 28, unfortunately at this point, like just the past week even, or even week or two, I haven't been too excited for update 28, which is unfortunate because I'm in general excited to continue and progress towards it on like Louis did, and excited for the missions, being able to do it on low level characters, but just in general with the update, I'm just not like really excited for it right now. And again, that will all be covered in a proper video, but it's just something I was thinking about and a quick topic for me to talk about in this stream to get started. I've also not really been good about making guides lately. I've had a little bit of a drought. It's been like 3 weeks since I have actually made any guide. And I got basically about 3 weeks ago, after I did all that recording, I got pretty busy in general with like school and work, so I didn't really have time to work on anything other than some of the usual content I did. While my inventory is super full, I'm just gonna have to deal with that for a while because I didn't do the VIP daily. I think that ring is almost an upgrade. Maybe it is an upgrade. My rings are not that good, so it's very easy for this to be an upgrade. I think I'll roll on it. I think somebody else got it, unfortunately, though. Brawler's trousers, I doubt I want those. Be an upgrade in morale, but I don't think it's worth rolling on those. And I also need to loot all these chests, so I will do that. Get my medallions of Moria. One thing also on this character is I need... what are they called? Bright Emblem of Nimrodel. I need 2 more of those to get my level 60 first stage. It's like I'll get my level 60 first stage and then after that, or like by time I get it, and probably by time I get it actually settled and configured a little bit, we'll probably be moving on to Mirkwood. And I could always just actually run Turtle. I just never think about it. It'd be super easy to run that and actually get the first stage. Hello, Diadem. You said you wish you were about 20 levels lower so you could join us. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate with a progression group like that if there's somebody that is higher level, not quite to the cap, but higher level than us, that it's a little too far out of the range. Especially these Moria instances are just so fun, at least to me. Remember the first time I went through Moria, or even the first few times, I just never ran the Moria instances. I had no idea what they were. The first time I was in Grand Stair, that was probably actually ran the Forgotten Treasure, I think, first. That's the first one you unlock and pretty easy, but I actually don't remember. For some reason, it was a long time ago trying to even remember. I think we need to go back up the middle. But the Forgotten Treasury, if that was the one I'm thinking that I ran the first time, I think I went down the wrong way. That one, I don't think we actually successfully run. I don't even remember who I ran it with, probably people in my ken back then. But I remember it being very confusing with having to turn the things, so I just don't remember actually successfully doing that. I remember a lot of confusion surrounding it. And then the Grand Stair also had no idea what was going on, and what was weird with the Grand Stair is it seems like every group I ran with just did it differently, and that's even been the case on this server until I actually started tanking this and we always ran a consistent way, but it seemed like every group would go a different path. Even though it actually follows a pretty straightforward path, I think you can go different ways throughout it. But it's just like really weird to start my first steps in the Moria instances. Actually, the turtle was probably the first one I ran, but that's not really one of the 6-mans. It is an instance. It's just a raid and a single turtle boss. So it's a little bit different. Hi Brant Hudson, you said you're new to LOTRO and watch all of my videos. And he said, you the man, and I know you don't love champions, but you asked if I want to do a yellow line video, and I have done a red line champion. That's actually one of the things, so I was just talking about me not doing guides. But first off, I do appreciate you watching all my videos. It sounds like you enjoy them, so I'm glad you do. And with the champion, that's actually one of the ones I was going to get to. So I had the red line minstrel and the yellow line champion, and then the 3 warden specs lined up to be like the next feed that I get to. But as I mentioned, I haven't actually recorded a guide for like 3 weeks, so I've been a little bit behind and just actually need to set some time to record one. I'm trying to catch up on a few things this weekend, unfortunately, and probably early next week. Or early this week, it's already Sunday. But I'm hoping, it really depends on the update 28 release. So I need to not AoE here. I gotta be very careful about that. I can use claw swipe, but I just gotta be really careful to not hit E-gash. that guy, or the devoted, I can hit the boss gash. Alright, so I pretty much just sit back here and keep the boss busy. Again, single targeting when the devoted is here, otherwise I can't actually use an AoE, but if we kill the devoted, we fail the challenges. Why? Why I don't want to do AoE, and he has pretty low health, though I'm standing in fire. This was actually a pretty challenging fight when we first started with this group, but I think now that we're a higher level and just more experience with the fight in general, we have it under control better. Don't have to think as hard about the fight, at least pay as much attention to what is going on, but I still do need to pay attention that I don't AoE the devoted. But yeah, hopefully, I'm really hoping this week sometime I could actually get back to doing some guides and maybe do a yellow line champion. It was one of the ones actually 3 to 4 weeks ago that I looked at and was like preparing for, but just never actually got around to doing it with all the other stuff and then getting a little bit extra busy. But yeah, because I was looking at my red line champion guide, I thought I would update that one just because I do like the red line spec the most for the champion, which is also unusual. A lot of people I know like the yellow line, like the AoE. So I thought about updating that one, but it's actually the exact same build. I don't know, some of the stuff has probably changed. A lot of stuff has changed with the class. It's actually a lot more enjoyable for me whenever they updated it somewhat recently. But anyway, we successfully completed the challenge. I don't know. Okay, I think we're out of combat. I can just loot all these chests. We get a lot of loot here. Unfortunately, I don't want that pocket item because I want my XP disabled, which is also unfortunate in its own way. I should actually probably be passing on everything because my inventory is full. I just realized it looks like I'm not actually getting anything, which means I'm taking it potentially from other people if they roll on it. Head cage. That actually sounds like a piece of armor I'd want for a tank. I lose some tactical mitigation, I would lose some might, overall gain morale and have more vitality, but I don't think I quite need that. Tactical mitigation's pretty valuable and kind of rare at this level. I think I have one more chest to loot. So Brant, you asked if I have any updates on the Brawler class, and before I get that, actually saw for Gaming's message, you said I should play Terraria. It's really fun, surprisingly. I heard of that game, I think, but I'm not too familiar with what it is. It's something I am pretty bad, it's kind of good in a way, but pretty bad about playing more than one game. I have trouble branching out with my game, so it's good because it means I don't really spend money on other games or anything like that, but it's also bad in a way because I just don't get that much variety between different games, but also good because that means I can devote my time into a single game more, like LOTRO pretty much. Okay, so I'm going to repair and sell. And I think we are completely rerunning that, so we'll probably start that up in a minute. I don't remember why I went to this NPC. There was something I wanted to do. Oh, I wanted to go to the legendary item person, which this guy is not, but I can go ahead and sell. Or maybe I cannot sell to him. But Brant, you asked if I have any updates on the Brawler class, and I don't really have any updates. It still sounds like it'll be sometime next year. It wasn't a confirmation that the Brawler exists, but it was something that was basically confirmed that the Brawler will be an upcoming class. So the community manager on the forums said that we saw something that we weren't supposed to see, obviously, which to me implied that the Brawler is like an actual legitimate class upcoming. Oh yeah, I keep meaning to go through the legendary item vendor real quick before we start up the instance. Except I can't find them. Actually, I should just take the time to return to Bree and get my subscriber town services, but I'll go ahead and just travel. It's not that big of a deal. But with the Brawler, I would guess that it would be melee, kind of similar to Champion. And this is assuming that they've like finalized on the name of the class. And that's actually what it is as a Brawler, but yeah, I would think it would be similar to Champion. And if you like to heal, Runekeeper and Minstrel are good options for that. As far as the current balance goes, Runekeepers actually out-heal Minstrels, but Minstrels can be more valuable in the buffs they provide, group buffs. If you're wondering about that. I think we're waiting for somebody to join in the instance. Or a Minstrel. Yeah, it'd probably be good if we wait for our Minstrel because they are our healer in this group. So Rohan B, you asked what my favorite zones in Eriador. So Eriador specifically, normally I think of Eriador as level 1 to 50, but this is what Eriador contains. It technically does contain Dunland and Enadoith. And I would have to say Enadoith is one of my favorite zones, but if we ignore that, Eregian's actually one of my favorites. So, okay, I think we're still waiting on people. Can't really tell who's here when I'm looking at the map. But I really like Forestill. It's a very nice immersive zone. It's a little bit slow with the questing because there's a lot of traveling, but I really like that zone. Evandem is good for like straightforward leveling experience, 30 to 40 or so. And Lonelands is also good like for level 20 to 30, so I like those two zones for that. Troll Shells is also really nice. It's a nice environment, I think. A little bit mountainous and a lot of different trees and just a bunch of different things going on. And it has some nice fall colors, which at least for me about a week ago would have matched the outside, but now all of our trees up here are dead and have no leaves anymore. I really like North Downs. There's a lot of different things also going on with North Downs, but I like the Estelden area. It's actually been a really long time since I've done a complete quest through of the North Downs. It's something that's on my to-do list, maybe one of my low-level characters maybe after I finish up West Rohan on my Runekeeper. I could go back and have a little bit of a focus on going through North Downs on a character. But yeah, there are a lot of things I like about the early zones in Eriador, so I even like Ingmar. I know a lot of people don't, but I think especially the western side quests are fun before like that Wall of Death. But even the stuff around that I think is fun as well. It's a little bit of an environment, kind of like Minas Morgul. I liked all the quests in Minas Morgul, but it is something that after a while I do feel the need to get out of, even if it is fun inside. And that's kind of like Moria. I used to just dislike Moria, but nowadays I do like Moria, but even with that it's still nice to get outside of Moria once in it for a while. There was some character, I'm trying to remember which character I recently quested through Moria on. My Runekeeper? Yeah, I think it was my Runekeeper. I did a lot of the southern zones, which I haven't hit too much, so I did like Redhorn Loans, Flaming Deeps, Waterworks even, and maybe some of Foundations of Stone. And all the like Moria instances to go along with those. But yeah, there are just a lot of zones I like in LOTRO, and a lot of, for various reasons. So like I like the environments of some, I like the questing in some, and I even like a combination of both in some. One of the things I didn't even mention, the Shire, I actually really enjoyed that when I went through it on the Guardian, but it's the type of thing that I can only handle doing every once in a while. Wonder what my deed progress is. I'm still like halfway done with an advanced deed for wargs. Okay, that's your general in Moria. Enemies in Grand Stair is one of my quests, daily quests. So it doesn't look like I have any deeds like specifically for these mobs in the specific instance, which is good because it means I've completed. I did not mean to use that AoE. I will actually need that in an upcoming fight. Actually, it will probably reset. I need it in the pre-boss fight. Oh, I think that's my cat banging around. I heard some noise. I thought it was like a knock at my door, but I think it's just my cat banging around. I don't know if you all can hear that on the mic. And this was the room I knew my big AoE taunt. Oh, go to the first boss. Oops, I forgot about that. So we need to go to the first boss. I forgot we do that just to get the... We don't have the challenge mode, but we still do that to trigger the devoted, I think. I think you still get like an extra chest or something from that is why we do that, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know that we do it for some reason. I forgot to do it this time. It's a pretty quick detour just killing those mobs though. But yeah, that's the... I guess I should talk a little bit about what we're doing. So the first time we ran this, we specifically ran the challenge mode. So now we're just running through and doing like a full clear through, so we'll do all the bosses. And instead of a bunch of chests at the end, we basically get each boss's chest individually, but we don't get the challenge mode, but again, we already completed that. So that's kind of something that's pretty frequently we do as our group, is run each Moria instance. When we run it twice, we do it once with like the challenge mode and then either finish it out or rerun it, like in the case of this one. I think Phil Gashen is another one that's like that. We quickly run to the boss doing the stealth mode, and then we can go back and finish the rest of it and get like deed progress, quest progress, or whatever. Or just fun by killing a lot of mobs. That was actually really fun. We did that last week, I think. We went back to Phil Gashen after we ran like the last Moria instance we hadn't done before. I think it was Halls of Crafting. So then we went back to Phil Gashen and did that, and we did that challenge mode, which is a little bit slow, just a lot of... not really stealthing through. That doesn't really make it slow, but you don't kill a lot of the mobs along the way. So after we killed the boss, I basically ran around and pulled everything in. It was a little bit tough. We did have, I think we finally had one death of maybe the Runekeeper. So for gaming, you said you're gonna go. Well, thank you for joining the stream. I of course do appreciate it. I should probably work on these ranged ads. A couple of them are still attacking me. I saw the one was attacking the healer. I assumed all of these would be, actually. I also don't think I pulled the boss. I could have pulled him the whole time. It's a good thing I didn't have my back turned to like an edge. I would have been knocked off. I kind of forget about that with this boss. Some of the NPCs in this instance in general do that. I've been fortunate enough to, I don't think I've gotten knocked off by a mob. I have walked off by accident. That is a common thing. It's a common theme for me in Moria. At least it used to be. It's been actually also a long time since I've properly quested through Moria. I mentioned I did some of the southern zones, but I haven't done the northern zones too recently. It's something I was like, so before my YouTube break, before I wasn't able to basically record or stream, I was, let me see, I'm trying to remember actually. So I went through some of it on my Warden, and my Lore Master I ended up somewhat abandoning because I was focusing my time on my Warden. And I think I was about to start going through that stuff on my Lore Master, but never did, is what I think happened. I don't have enough room. Oh, that's my pending loot. I don't really care about that anyway, and I'm going to pass everything because I can't loot. Yeah, I think by doing this early, we maybe get 2 chests here instead of 1, but again, I don't remember for sure that that is the case. But we can go back and get the boss now. So when I pulled earlier I pulled, I guess, that little pin area with a bunch of the wargs and goblins, and this is actually the second one with the actual boss. Somebody is here with me. The hunter? I think that's enough. He was running for you, Jimmy. Uh-oh. Did I miss some? I just like, so I ran back to the boss, and I think some of the people I left at the boss ran upstairs, and I think they're trying to pull the mobs back to us. We could reset the boss, but they said they were going to run them back down here. I was just running like super rapid. Here they come. Sorry, I just like ran straight off to this boss. Oh, and I think the boss, something happened there where his morale reset. I don't think that usually happens when his ward comes. But yeah, it seems like I basically lost all the progress on that fight anyway. I could have just run back and helped him right away. Oh, our captain died from something. Oh, there was a white hand shield that I never actually pulled aggro of, I guess. I was doing a bunch of force taunts. Let's see, we have an archer, but I just can't do anything without running out and getting resetting the boss, so fortunately I did all I could. I do have a couple of range skills, but I'll use another bee sting. I think that's called, is it called? It's called bee swarm. That's what I thought it was. It's like bee sting does not sound correct. Oh, I was just wondering where you jumped from. I was like, so the captain jumped down from somewhere. I had no idea where he was jumping from. There's a little ledge up there. While I was thinking about that, I lost aggro. Well, apparently I collected Forzunk's Mark. I didn't even know I had a quest or anything for that. I guess, is this a repeatable quest? Yeah, it's one of the repeatable ones, so I just have to remember, I guess, to loot the mobs. Champion's Great Axe. Don't want that one. Brawler's Trousers. If there is a Brawler class, those are the ones you're going to have to use on them. Hold up. I better wait for everybody. Also, don't remember if I looted the chest, so I'll loot it just in case. That's what I wanted to open my inventory, kind of looking at my loot. I have a chest piece for level 62. I think that's a DPS upgrade. I don't know if it's a tanking upgrade for when I get level 62. I think somebody ran AFK, but we can probably maybe go up. I don't know if it were like last time, I would have just ran away. Some people are coming. I think Jimmy went AFK. So everybody was just like waiting around, but he knows his way. He's actually the one that told me where to go here. Okay, so Diadem, you said Moria has always been your favorite area. It used to be a lot harder and less survivable when it was released. So yeah, Moria, that was the same case for me. And that actually made it a little bit not too much enjoyable. Like when I was going through on my Runekeeper, that was my first character through Moria. I had some hard times going through it, not only like navigating and falling, but the actual mobs were difficult. So I had a lot of troubles with my Runekeeper, and perhaps it wasn't the best class for like my first time going through Moria, or even the game, just because it was squishy. But that's always the type of classes I liked. And then I went through it on my Warden. I honestly don't remember that too much. For some reason, of all my experiences in LOTRO, going through Moria on my Warden is like one of the least I remember somehow. Like I got my Warden through Moria, and my Warden was my first character into Mirkwood, actually before my Runekeeper, but I just don't remember much of it. I remember being like level 8 in Chetwood North, or in Chetwood, I don't think it's called Chetwood North, but near Archet and Bree. So I remember being like level 8 and doing that stuff. And then I just don't remember too much on my Warden. I remember going through some areas and enjoying the Warden. I kind of remember a little bit, specifically in North Downs on my Warden, but it's just really weird. I'll actually be talking about all this in, eventually at least, in an upcoming video on my Warden experience, my Warden story video, which will be split into multiple parts. It's also on my to-do list with guides. I've actually finally kind of organized the structure of that video a little bit better after kind of re-planning it. But Wolfmika, you said you wonder if they would put Brawler gear into the old instances or they just get left out. It would probably be like the Beorning. I think mostly the Beorning's been left out, but a lot of the Barters, at least. A lot of the barterable gear, they have Beorning versions now, so I'd hope they at least have that too. Okay, I think everybody's here again. Our hunter got knocked off by the troll. These mobs can be a little bit tough. I think they do some tactical damage in all these debuffs. So Diadem, you think Mines of Moria was the last hard copy release LOTRO did, so like the expansion? You still have the box for that. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I don't think I kept any of my old game boxes for things like that, so I don't have mine. or if it's stuck in like some back at my home, like some box. I have no idea. That could be the case, but I don't think I have anything like that. But yeah, I really don't know. I can't speak too much to the experience of like Mirkwood difficulty compared to Moria. I do remember having a harder time in Moria than Mirkwood, and I know after that Rise of Isengard was, I think, an easier experience from when I went through it. I don't know, like if they do any rebalancing, if they did rebalancing of not only the Moria content, but like the Mirkwood content, the Isengard content, any low-level content as these updates were released. Like nowadays in LOTRO, they're constantly, it seems like, changing the balance of things, and a lot of things they do at the level cap, or like little adjustments at low levels, I mean to the actual content at low levels, just impacts the level balance a lot. And it's kind of either not thought about or neglected a little bit, kind of like how the Beorning's super strong at low levels, but then they become just weak. A lot of their stuff doesn't scale too well at high levels. And another thing is captain tanking is not bad at low level. It's hard for anything to be really bad at low levels because a lot of the content is easy, but they just become increasingly better as you keep on getting leveled up in better gear. So at level 130, they're like the best tanks. So Joby won. You said you used to avoid walking on grates over lava thinking you would get heat damage and you were just a noob. I have definitely thought that, and there are some cases where I guess heat grates like these I think people are being like extra noisy in my apartment right now. I'm hearing a lot of background information. I think somebody's yelling at something. Warden shield. Wonder what that looks like. Looks like a pretty standard Warden shield. I actually have, so I have something that looks just like that on one of my Wardens. I don't know what Warden it is, or at least I used to have. I just really recognize that shield. Forgot to loot this chest. But yeah, it actually makes sense that you would take heat damage. It's probably very hot, not only on the metal probably absorbs the heat well. So it's probably very hot to touch, and then you're right above lava, so that definitely makes sense that you would take damage from it just because of that. But yeah, that's always, I actually thought with this one that I had to run in the middle because I assumed going like on the left or right here I would take damage from the lava, but that is not the case. And in general, walking over anything like that does freak me out a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't actually do damage. Ooh, I almost got knocked off. I didn't just want to have one troll. After running this so many times, it would be a little bit boring to just pull one troll. Well, actually, the captain's still running. I was like, somebody's actually keeping up with me as I'm pulling more and more. This might be a little bit dangerous. The trolls, I think, do a little bit of a decent chunk of damage. Get in the captain's banner area there. Get all those buffs. Actually, it's just damage buffs there, redline captain, but still valuable for me. I do some damage. Probably not nearly as much as the other people in the group, but at least if I use Relentless, it's a little bit of damage. Alright, I think we need to pull some more. Because we're higher level and better gear now in general as a group, not everybody, again, we have like a new captain who's lower level. It looks like the Runekeeper is actually relatively low level. I did not know that. But I have to give them a challenge somehow, and usually it's by pulling more and more mobs. So Wolf Mecha, I just saw your last message that said you wrote that like a question on a math test, so I'll be excited to read your math test question in a moment once I get this fight under control. So you said You wonder how the Brawler will work on legendary weapons. Would they get a legendary fist or nothing at all? Or like legendary armor pieces or just essence slotted gear? What do I think? Okay, so there are a lot of different things they could do. They could introduce a new weapon type, like an unarmed weapon, a fist weapon. Either specifically an unarmed weapon that is unarmed. Nope. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they would do for a weapon with that, or maybe they'll introduce a Brawler that just uses like the weapons in game and is not an unarmed class. Or I think in that actual video I talked about possibilities of like them having a stance where they have weapons and then don't have weapons, kind of like the Beorning, where you're in bear form or you aren't in bear form. It could work something like that just to be easier and they don't have to introduce a new weapon, but that seems like a little bit of the easy way out as far as implementing something like that. Or they could have, yeah, like a new weapon type, like a new fist weapon that would be either like the fist weapons in WoW or probably some other games that there are things like that. But yeah, basically where you attack unarmed with like something around your fist, like a little, I don't know if they would use a claw thing if there's anything like that in the Lord of the Rings, but like something like a claw or just anything like that around your fist. Or it could just be like, again, an actual weapon where you just use your fist with nothing attached to them. But anyway, off of the weapons a little bit. And yeah, that's also a good point. You could go unarmed with the quest without any weapons, like in general with a class, but you said legendary weapons specifically. So if they don't use any weapons, it would be a little bit weird to imagine them having legendary weapons if they don't actually use legendary weapons. So maybe they could use, like it would just be an extra class item. They would have actually 2 legendary items as a class, and one of them increases like DPS like a normal weapon does and has all the normal weapon legacies and things like that. If they just go completely weaponless somehow, that'd be, I feel like that would be a little bit of a nightmare for them to balance, just because a lot of skills in LOTRO in general are balanced around main hand damage. I don't know 100% the case on tactical classes that is true. That's more based on your tactical damage rating. Burglar's cover, I'm curious what that looks like. It actually looks pretty decent. If I had an outfit that could match a cloak like that, or if I actually wanted like a hooded cloak, it'd be worth considering. But moving on from the weapons finally, or legendary armor pieces, that'd actually be something that I think could work for a Brawler as well. That I feel like that would actually be less likely. But I think it would be interesting if, like the Brawler, if they're unarmed, and instead of having a legendary weapon, they have a legendary armor piece. I believe we are headed to the last boss. We just got done with the trolls, so we're headed towards the middle. And then for their armor, I would guess they would have like normal armor, like essence slotted gear. A Brawler, I would picture maybe medium armor. If they want them to be an option to tank, it sounds like they'd give them heavy armor. Or at least that's what they did with the Beorning. I don't see the Beorning as a heavy armor class. I see them as a light to medium armor class. But they gave them heavy armor anyway, just for like balance reasons. And they did not do that for the Warden, which is odd because the Warden can also tank, and they definitely have survivability issues and mitigation issues where heavy armor would help, but it's not thematic towards the Warden. I thought it was the same thing with the Beorning. Instead of just like giving the tank spec like a 5% mitigation boost to make up for that. But anyway, I'll get off that topic. I think they would use like normal armor. And the type of armor I think they would use would be something like light or medium armor. At least that's what I would picture a Brawler as. I suppose they could be heavy armor as well. But I don't know, I don't really think of heavy armor as much with a Brawler. And then legendary gloves, that's actually a good point. That could be your fist weapon, so to speak, you're unarmed. So, yeah, you could have legendary gloves. Instead of like Heroic Noble's tactical gloves, it would be Brawler's gloves of the Third Age that I would have right now. And I think that would actually work. It'd be different, but I think in a good way where it could work. And then Wolfmika, you mentioned the gloves could determine the main hand and offhand damage while also being weaponless. So that's true that it would be weaponless. It would be a little bit odd to have a damage associated with gloves, especially if they're just like a whole bunch of old random gloves in the game that they would have to individually add DPS for. That part would be a little bit odd. So maybe it could just be based like a generic whatever level the gloves are or whatever item level they are. They could base the damage a little bit off that. Oh yeah, we can actually kill the Devoted now. He's ready to go through the fight without AoE again. Except I need to actually taunt the boss here. There we go. So he still does his AoE thing, I think that has, yeah, at least used to one-shot some people in our group. I think it gets kind of close now, but doesn't really actually one-shot them. So for the Brawler, you think it would be cool if they had a blue line for buffing, red line for DPS, and yellow line for debuffing. I'm kind of curious what the specs could be for a Brawler, because I feel like they could have a tank spec. It'd be more of a champion style tank where they don't have a shield and they use more of their just like hardiness. Is that, I don't even know if that's the word I'm looking for. But just something like that. Their natural built-up survivability from being a Brawler that brawls a lot and being very tough. I think that's what the tanking style could be focused on if they were to have a tanking spec. As far as buffing goes, that's something I would have to think about a little bit, how a Brawler could buff. How they could buff allies, because with the Captain it's like they're inspiring allies, and similar with the Minstrel. And that's what a lot of buffs in general in LOTRO are, like inspiring. Do you all remember where Khazad-dûm is? I think oh, Gothgash. Okay, that's the one I forgot to loot for the quest. So for the Brawler yellow line, you said debuffing. I could see debuffing working with a Brawler. You like punch them or whatever and it just debuffs them. Maybe like reducing defenses, that type of debuffing. And increasing incoming damage. I don't know about weakening them. Oh, I need to actually loot the boss, not the chest. So I will leave the instance and turn in these couple of quests, and I think for our group it's break time. But I will of course keep going and get this character maybe settle a little bit more. So Wolfmika, you said the Brawler, the range spec, or yellow could be a range spec, and you throw like random objects for stuns and that type of stuff. I actually could see there being a range spec with the Brawler, it would be a little bit weird, but as you mentioned, throwing things, so like how a Warden throws javelins, maybe the Brawler throws different things, like I think you mentioned just random objects, and I also agree that could work for stuns and things like that. Or even like there's, I think Dust in the Eyes is a burglar skill, but something like that stuns. What am I needing to do? I need to talk to a legendary item person. I really need to go to a vendor. I also really need to go to Bree. I have a lot of things apparently that I need to do. So I think, I mean, my inventory is such a mess, but there's a lot of stuff I actually want in it, and it'll just take me a minute to get there. So what I think I'm going to do is actually try to find the legendary item person. I thought they were just like right out here, but it does not look like that's the case. So I'm actually it's going to be easier for me to go to Bree somehow and do that. So I'll go to Bree and get my VIP daily. So for the buffing, you said it could work as jealousy. So you pull off crazy moves and your teammates see it and try harder. That would be a funny way for it to be implemented. Especially if a Brawler is like a combo-based class. I could actually see a Brawler, maybe not a gambit system like the Warden, but something somewhat similar where it's combo-based, using certain skills in a row to get like a strong move. Strong attack, which would be kind of like the gambit system. With the gambit system, you use certain skills, gambit builders, and then you get to use a strong gambit after that. But the way I picture it with a Brawler, even if it might play out similar, is a little bit different if they had a combo system. But yeah, with the teammates getting jealous and trying harder, that would be a way to buff them. Be a little bit weird, but it would be like an actual legitimate way, I think. Right now I should probably work on my overflow inventory first though. So one thing I want to look at is this character's vault. I actually have a lot of vault space. Apparently I have all my virtue XP. I did not know I had all these things already in here. I was also going to, I guess in chest 4 I can put all my legendary heritage runes, so this will save up a lot of inventory space. And then even my Moria reputation items. Did anybody need Moria rep items? Alright, I'll mail some. Okay, so, oops. I did not know closing that would do that. But yeah, trying to clean out my inventory so at least I can give somebody some Moria rep items. Eventually I'll need them on other characters, but they're super easy to get. If I really need them bad on like another character, I can always just farm the Moria instances. They're good to farm anyway for like virtue XP on my high level characters or whatever, and rather give them at least right now to somebody that can use them right away. But there we go. Now my inventory is looking a whole lot cleaner. It's not completely clean, but it's at least a lot better than it was. Go ahead and unlock all those useful things, and then I'll do the vendor again, if I can find the vendor. Town. My inventory, it just keeps getting full of those. So, I'm trying to think oh yeah, the legendary item. That is something, it's taken me so long, I mentioned it so many times, so I'll go ahead and identify that. Don't really care that much about that. Bear form damage sounds good. I still don't actually even know which L I have equipped. I'm not really caring too much about that until until I actually get the level 60 first stage. So I think Tempered Tree Cutter is not the one I have. Let me actually put whatever one I have equipped. Looks like I have Beorning's Great Axe of the 3rd Age equipped. So we'll swap the slot with this one. And I need to actually make a name for it. This will be my honey. Is honey cake with a dash? I want to do this proper. Yeah, it is. This is my honey cake cutter now. Sometimes honey cake comes in 2 big pieces for a single bite, so you have to cut it, and that is what my 3rd Age item is built for. Although sometimes it is useful in cutting enemies as well. I just have to properly clean it off before I actually use it to cut the honey cake. But I have a lot of the legacies, whatever these are called, legacy XP things. I actually don't even know what these are called, like legendary points or something like that. Before, it's called LI, well, later on it'll be like LI XP and it just gets distributed. I already have LI XP, but with the imbuement, what I mean is it automatically levels, so you don't really have to worry about like spending, ranking these things up. Anyway, probably I would want out of all of these bear form damage, but before that I would rather Wrath spending attacks to refund Wrath. That's a little bit of an odd one. It takes 180 of these points for the max one, so maybe I'll get a couple in that and also get a couple in bear form damage and kind of level them evenly. Try to, I was going to say try to efficiently spend my points, but that didn't happen because I have 33 available, and like the next one on that is 35, the cheapest one. But actually, I just saw it's only level 40, this LI. I thought all of these would have been level 60 by now. I've probably been bad about like reforging them and things like that. But anyway, we are doing the Forges of Khazad-dûm, which is exciting. I'll try to make good use of those buffs. Oh, I'm actually out of my hope tokens. Well, be sure to eat my food and enjoy a drink. I think I enjoyed a sip of red tea, and I'm eating some superior limbas. Okay, I hope we're good to go. Looks like half of them stayed here. I wanted to pull both sides, but I thought that might be too much. And with glory healing, we're... oops. With glory healing, we're pretty set, though. Oh, somebody actually did pull more of these. That's a pretty fun fight, though. So Wolfmick, I actually saw your message and kind of forgot about it. I got distracted by my legendary items and then we started the instance. So you said, do you think combos are really likely for the Brawler class? And I could definitely see that. So you said it could be pay-to-play class to have all the pay-to-play, no, if I can say that straight, pay-to-play classes have gimmicks. So like the Runekeeper has an attunement system, I know. And they're more of a magical class. The Lore Masters are magical, but the Runekeepers are a little bit different in that. And the Wardens have the Gambit system and are very strong solo. Runekeepers also have Do Not Follow Stay, just for like, I don't even know, gimmicky things. as far as those goes, but just like useful things for pay-to-pay classes to encourage people to buy them. I don't think I am. So I wasn't getting healed. I think the healer got stuck on something back there. And he said I was going to die, but I was able to use some cooldowns and get healed up enough that that was not an issue. Plus, honestly, if I die in an instance like this, it's probably my own fault as the tank for pulling too much. But anyway, with the Brawler class, I definitely see them having a combo-based system and also as being kind of like a gimmick. I guess y'all can't see me doing air quotes, but a like so-called gimmick. What are mithril bits? Are they a quest item? Oh, it's like I just don't remember those. Hat of Rallying. That's interesting. I wonder what that looks like. That is an ugly hat, and it would not make me want to rally. So Ignacio Sponton Costa, you asked, do you think the Warden at high level is too hard to enjoy? So you're in your 50s and you're kind of worried that it will become a chore, and it's really good at the moment. I don't know that it would feel like a chore to play. Oh, I'm vulnerable to a special attack. Oh, apparently I have to hide around a corner if I have that. I'm not a tank, so it's okay, but I had no idea what the actual debuff that I had to run away was from. This fight I've always done it like tank and spank. But anyway, with the Warden, I think it is enjoyable at high levels. I don't think it will become too hard to enjoy. If you like the Gambit system, oh, we have a lot of ads. Okay, so this fight got a little bit busier than I remembered with all these ads, but that is okay now. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm not being much of a help with the Warden. I still enjoy it at high levels. I don't really think it's much of a chore to play and like keep up with it and all that's going on with it. What I do think feels more like a chore is any class that has a rotation, and like this is specifically dealing with like high level in-game content or high difficulty in-game content, so like higher tier raids. And one of the reasons I just like don't run these because I'm not interested in it, because it feels to me more like a chore to play instead of something that's enjoyable. Like you have to use certain skills at certain times to optimize your rotation, and that's something that I think is true with every class, but could definitely become so with the Warden if you're like thinking along those lines. But just like in general gameplay that like I do, I don't ever feel like that. I don't think there's anybody else here. There's the Hunter, so hopefully we can survive it. I just need to keep up with my defensive skills just in case. Which means I need to switch to human form, use Heart 10, use my Ferocious Roar, I think that's called. Yeah, Ferocious Roar, and everybody's caught back up. So good on that fight. But anyway, I hope that helps a little bit with the Warden. Again, I feel like I wasn't being too much of a help there. So Wolfmika, you said you have your Warden at level 72, and it doesn't feel tiring, but your fingers ache really bad after short periods of time from spamming masteries, and that's annoying. I could definitely see that. That's actually one thing I'm personally bad about with the Warden, is actually using my keybinds for the masteries, just because there are so many. So like stretching my pinky finger to the control and shift key, that already gets tiring on some of the other classes. I like heavily use my shift bar on a lot of classes, and then a little bit with the controls. Yeah, I feel like I have no idea based on Rohan lasting so long and some of the others being short before that. Yeah, that's, I don't know, with that update, it just, everything feels weird about it to me. Weird about it to me. So that's actually, for anybody curious, I'm talking to my other people in my group on Discord, in the kin, but that's actually going to be tomorrow's video. I don't know how else to explain it, and I talked about this at the beginning of the stream. I think our healer is not locked out but has to jump over. Sometimes takes a few tries, so. Okay, so I think other people, this boss just has so many different things going on with that. I think other people usually handle getting all these little gates closed or opened or collapsing these things. So Wolfmika, you said you have your Warden set up, so control 1, 2, 3, 4 equals a gambit. Okay, shift 1, 2, okay, I see what you mean. So like pressing control 1, 2, 3, 4, that's actually pretty hard for me. I just did it on this character, which did a bunch of things, and then shift 1, 2, 3, 4 also builds a gambit. And those are Desolation and Unerring Strike. Those are pretty common ones. And then, alt 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a hard one for me. I'm very bad about the alt bar. Oh, I probably should have healed the hunter instead of healing myself there. I've been doing a bad job about tanking. And what I interpret that as is let Jimmy do stuff while I tank these things. But yeah, after using the control and shift bar so much alone, I think that would make my fingers hurt so much. And the alt key, I would actually press that with my thumb. And that's just something I am not good at with my thumb. It's a little bit hard to get it down to the alt bar. That's why I actually have my first few keys, F1, F2, F3, F4 at the top bar. I changed my keybinds for that. The only problem with that is I can't like target. Normally F1 would target the first person and so on if I want to use keybinds to target people. I don't do that too frequently, but sometimes I do that when healing or something. Like on a Runekeeper or Minstrel, sometimes I'll do it. but usually I'm an extra slow healer and just like click everybody and then press my buttons for the heals. Sometimes for me healing, if I try to do the function keys for that, I would basically mess up the healing too much because too many buttons to press. Guess I'm going to try to get a heal on the hunter and a sacrifice that would actually keep them from taking much damage. That means I'll start taking a lot of damage though, but I am built up to be a tank. The hunter is somewhat built up to be a tank, but not really built up to be a tank. They're an unintentional tank, I guess is the best way to put it. This is all pretty crazy. Our healer's been locked out the whole time, unfortunately. Looks like we're doing greens for that, and I might as well use that to help with the healing. I'm not going to be doing anything better. These trolls, they just regenerate their morale. If y'all can't tell, I'm not really talking about the fight, just like going about it, doing it, talking about other things, but that is what is going on, and trying to hit the boss every once in a while. I wonder if when I do damage, because I'm just like pressing skills, if that triggers that at all. Actually, probably should be in main form. Oh, he has a reflect going on right now. Okay, so somebody dropped aggro somehow. I don't know like who died or what happened. I think he says a portion of incoming damage, yeah, is redirected to the source of the effect, so he's reflecting right now. He has one more for that, so I'm going to try to focus on single target, hit him real quick and try and stay alive. Probably going to use my survival cooldown. So he's doing his. I need to use the water pouch again. So I have this debuff. Apparently it does 10,000 fire damage. It's going to be a lot. Okay, so bringing him back. Oh, people are going around. He keeps absorbing. I wonder if it's when the trolls are near him. That might be the case, and unfortunately I just have aggro on the boss, and at this point I think it's a little bit too late to not have that. Okay, he's probably... Actually, we don't have the trolls running around, so I can go here, like the ones that go on the rails. Okay, so we got the boss down, so now all we need to do is get the trolls. So I'm going to run a little bit of a safer spot for me. So Ignacio, sorry for taking so long to get back to your message, but it's been kind of crazy with the boss fight. So let me actually get one of these things on that. So you said you were asking with the Warden because you enjoy the class, but you don't know if it will become a tiring class. You're wondering if you should roll another class. Yeah, as far as actual tiring on the fingers, it sounds like if you use keybinds for all your masteries, which if you want to play in the most efficient way, which would be what's a good way of putting this? I don't want to say it's a better way for everybody to do that, but it is, you'll have better performance, again, the most optimal way, that's the word I'm looking for. Then it will probably be tiring on your fingers, but just like in general tiring and wearing you out or whatever. I'm becoming a chore to play, I'm just not too sure. But yeah, as far as rolling another class, oh, I thought they died because I saw somebody was dead, but that was the other captain. Anyway, with Wolf Mika, you said your uncle told you the other day that healers suck and are not needed one, and that tanks are just button mashing and also not required. And then you sat him down and told him to deliver merchant with your hunter, and nope. So, yeah. Pretty much healers are needed. Sometimes tanking is just button mashing. Sometimes I do that on this character, definitely. But if you were paying, I wonder what Forged Targe looks like. Yeah, I don't like that look of a Warden shield as much as like the other one we looked at in the Grand Stair. But yeah, with healing, they are definitely needed because people need their health raised when it goes down or they die, so it's just like definitely needed. So beginning of days, you asked how many years I've been playing LOTRO, and I have been playing maybe, I want to say I got the 9-year gift box earlier this year, so I've probably been playing, I think I joined like right after whatever anniversary that it started, so I've probably been playing for 10 years now. I started a little bit into the Siege of Mirkwood expansion, but also a little bit before the Rise of Isengard expansion. So a little bit before free-to-play, actually basically right before free-to-play it seemed like. I like joined and subscribed to the game, then it became free-to-play shortly after that. And that's when I really started. I tried the game a few times and actually didn't enjoy the first few times I tried it. I think I picked a bad class and I just didn't enjoy it to start. I enjoyed other games more. Specifically for like a long-term MMORPG, I played World of Warcraft, and when LOTRO came out and when some of my friends started playing it, I think I need the water pouch, and I need to take him out of the fire. Or take myself out of the fire. He can stay in the fire, it doesn't do anything to him. Guess I'll go back to this side to be with everybody again. Oh, need to use another water pouch. Usually, actually I don't want water pouches, so the debuff I have is just like 672 fire damage. So it's not too much for me, but I can use a water pouch to remove it. Water pouches you just loot throughout this instance to like, it's like instance specific debuffs. I don't remember him ever doing this much to us. So my push to talk key for Discord is the Z key. So I push that and it's hard for me to hit 1 while I'm pushing that. So I had to click that. That was a little bit weird. But that was pretty crazy. I don't think he usually like one-shots us or just does that much damage to us. Alright, so going to go ahead and loot the chest. So we have one more boss in this instance. There's actually, this one actually has a challenge mode. I forget about it because we usually just do it. But it's basically to do the boss in like a certain time. You basically have a time limit. So this is actually an interesting chest piece. I would lose quite a bit of morale, which wouldn't be a good thing. I would get crit defense instead of critical rating and gain some fire mitigation. But I don't think losing the morale is worth it for that stuff. Even though it's really something to consider for the crit defense, and I took too long thinking about it that it decided for me that I would pass on that. But anyway, oops, we can I thought the captain was already rezzed. I think I rezzed the runekeeper is what happened. But anyway, we are almost ready for the last boss fight. We actually have 2 troll ads before him. I think we could even pull the boss, or maybe we have to kill the troll ads. And then he will trigger, or he triggers while we're pulling the troll ads. Either way, the last boss fight is starting now. So it's kind of like, this is a really weird instance. I like it, but it's just a super weird instance. It's very non-standard, I guess. Because usually with dungeons you have like a boss fight, then a few trash fights, then a boss fight, and there isn't too much navigation or things like that. This one, you have actually regular trash fights. You have to clear out a room. There are like 2 sides, but I think you have to clear out both. But then you have to also like take powder to things and block off hallways. And I guess this is a cave, the Forges of Khazad-dûm. So you have to do that, and I wonder, he's not taking much damage. I forget, he either only takes fire damage and lightning damage, or he has, okay, he does not take fire and light damage. So a lot of my damage is going to be common damage. So like I probably want to use Relentless, but something like Beast Swarm, which used to be a weak skill, now is pretty strong. Fortunately, I think our Runekeeper is spec'd into Lightning, I thought. Now they're using fire skills, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, because the boss is immune to like fire and light, I think it's a good thing our Runekeeper is spec'd Lightning, it looks like. And our Hunter, I think, has fire arrows equipped, so he's going to be immune to all the Hunter's attacks for a while, so we're just going extra slow on this boss, unfortunately. So beginning of days, he said you're only playing LOTRO for a year and a half yourself. So yeah, that's not, I don't know if you would still be considered a new player, but it's not too long compared to some other players. But it sounds like if you're playing LOTRO for that long, at least you enjoy it some, so that is good. I too think it's an enjoyable game. Of course, I've been playing fairly consistently for almost 10 years. Anyway, I'll actually take him back here. I know we got some troll ads I was running around, but we're not quite on that phase. One of the phases with this boss, we run around the room and avoid the fire, basically. Especially with our low damages, it's just taking forever. Yep. Yep. So they were just asking in the Ken if he was immune to lightning damage, but he's immune to light and fire, but not lightning, which is almost a combination. Lightning's like, it's a little bit electrocution-ier, but it's almost a combination of light and fire. So like light itself is like, well, it's an electromagnetic wave / particle, but anyway, it's kind of like lightning like that. Don't want to go into too more detail with that. But yeah, the point is that lightning's kind of like in between fire and light in a way. At least it seems like it. So I don't think this is yet to the phase that we run around. So beginning of days, you said it's a surprise my YouTube channel doesn't have a lot more subscribers. And I'm glad you think my YouTube channel is worthy. It sounds like more subscribers. But yeah, it's kind of Well, first of all, unfortunately, I was just unable to make videos for about a year, actually a little bit over a year, so I actually gained subscribers while I was gone. This was a really weird thing. So for whatever year or like 14-month period I think it ended up being that I wasn't making videos, I was still like gaining subscribers from all my old videos, and my channel was doing surprisingly well for me not making videos. But I also took a hit in how many subscribers I gained, because I was like gaining subscribers like crazy before I had to, unfortunately, wasn't able to make videos. But he seems to be taking a lot of damage now. I don't know if his health is just going down a lot or if I'm going a little bit crazy here. It's really weird. He seems to be absorbing some damage, so like my relentless skill does not seem to do the damage it normally does, and like even for myself he seems to be absorbing or immune to a lot of my damage, or at least negating a lot of it. He might have like just really high mitigations, might be the case, and when he's open to damage maybe it goes back to normal. But normally, like relentless, I'm getting like super low damage numbers. Normally it'd probably be around, even Thrash itself should be doing about 1,000 damage, but I'm getting at most like 200 on these attacks, critting for 400. But Relentless, this one will crit in this spec for like 2 to 3k and probably hit. I don't know if this is when we run around again. Yeah, I think it sounds like this is when we run around. Oh, yeah, I think I went another one. They all went to the left and then I went to the right. But yeah, with my channel, Ignacio, I will get to your question real quick because I want to finish this thought on the channel before I get even more off on that. Oh, our healer, no, not our healer died. We still have our healer up, our captain, and our captain got battle rezzed and then died right away again. But with my channel, it's really weird. When I started making videos again, I started actually losing subscribers. It was the weirdest thing. And then there was like one day that I got 14 subscribers in a single day. I don't know, that was the exact number, something like that. And then I suddenly actually started gaining subscribers again. It was super weird because the first like 2 or 3 weeks of me being back to making videos, I was losing subscribers. But finally I've been gaining some. Again, some days like it's kind of inconsistent. Some days I'll lose some days I'll gain some. But overall, definitely gaining. But anyway, moving on to Ignacio's question about what class besides Warden is good to solo most of the game. So the Beorning is actually a really good class for that. The class I'm on right now, they have a lot of stuff they can solo. A lot of tools they have that they can use to solo things. A lot of people consider their gameplay pretty basic, even though you transform between like bear form and man form and have wrath and all that. Am I the only one that's alive? Is everyone else dead? Oh, Annie's here. So apparently the hunter's here, even though I have no idea where they are. But apparently they're here. I think they're using, again, fire arrows, so for a large portion of the time they're unable to actually hit the boss. I think everybody's trying to run back to help. He just takes so little damage. But yeah, for other classes, Ignacio, you said you've been, oh, he's running off for something. He said, "Do not anger me, Jindal, or your life will be mine." I wonder if he did something to him when he came down. But for the other classes, Hunter and Champion seem like they're obvious choices, so they're good solo classes. But if you're looking specifically to solo, like difficult content solo instances, Hunter and Champion might not be the best. Champion isn't bad about that. Their tank spec is good for, like, if you're looking to solo instances or just like landscape group content, that type of thing. But in general, every class can solo landscape content, like regular quests, just doing regular playthrough, all the classes should be fine with that. Some of them, like Hunter and Champion, can be faster. Hunter is good for travel skills, so is Warden. And Warden can be defensive for those tough parts. Okay, I need to take him back a little bit more. We're getting close to the fire. Oh, did I run out of your banner? Oh, I forgot about that timer. Yeah, I know he's immune to fire and light most of the time, but his mitigations must just be really high because I just do way less damage to him than normal. Yeah. Yeah, like my old crits that would be 2 or 3k are now like 300 or 400. So it sounds like other people have this issue with this boss not taking much damage, but finally, to get to your messages, beginning of days, you said, maybe for this class, it's a lot different than Lore Master. It's tough going. Hold up, I'm actually not sure what you're talking about with the class. Maybe the Warden, you can tell it's different. So, okay, I'm actually reading your message, I think, correct this time. So you're a Lore Master and it's tough going, but you like the challenge. So yeah, Lore Master is one that's a little bit tough. They have some different things going on about them that make them tough. And yeah, the challenge with them, I think in general, playing something that makes things challenging in the game makes it a bit more fun. But then finally, you said with my, so on my channel with my content, it's a lot better than most LOTRO players on Twitch. I actually understand the game, so I'm actually not sure. I don't really know many of the people that play on Twitch, so I can't really comment too much on that. But I try to be knowledgeable about the game and share that. I think a lot of people also play, again, I don't know about the Twitch streamers with LOTRO, I just know that there are a lot of them. But I think a lot of people that play LOTRO too play it more for the Lord of the Rings, for the story aspect, so they might not be as much into the MMORPG. I got distracted by the loot with the chest. But not as much into like that aspect, the actual game and gameplay of it. So Wolf Mecha, you can't survive on your Lore Master for the life of you. And one thing with the Lore Master that helps is water lore. At whatever level you get that, it's like 60 something or 70 something, I think. So pretty high level, but that's a very big skill to help you survive. And he said Louis Evan equals big brain. Well, I'm glad you think that. One thing I also, I am going to grad school in a science field, so I try to apply a lot of that into my videos and streams in LOTRO in general. I think some people got lost in the instance, like we did all the loot and I seem to, maybe I can go back in and try to find these people and help them find their way in the instance. But yeah, this instance is definitely weird to navigate, especially for people that haven't been here before, and as if they were dying and having to run back, unfortunately. We have a couple extra squishy. And then he said Louis 7 equals big brain confirmed. The troll tried to run me over. Should probably get out of my Wanderlust mode because the Runekeeper can't travel that fast. Somebody want to try that? Actually, I think I went the wrong way. I'm supposed to be the guide for this instance. Here we go, it's actually back here. I had to find the way, because after doing the boss fight, you just like go down. Unfortunately, we'll have to run to this troll. Sometimes you can jump over it if you do it, time it right, but I did the wrong time there. So beginning of days, you're level 62 Lore Master, and it does get better. Being tactical is key. That is definitely true with the Lore Master. You have a lot of utility skills. That's one thing with the Lore Master. They're a support class and have a ton of utility and a ton of options to help them survive. You just have to be aware of those skills and sometimes be ready, actually like plan to use them. So like I mentioned water lore, I don't think at level 62 you quite have that yet. I don't remember the exact level you get that, but yeah, that one will help a lot because it's an overtime heal that you can actually cast on yourself. So I think a lot of the Lore Master heals are the only heal they have you can only cast on your other fellowship members or other players and your pet. So once you have water lore, you can actually cast it on yourself, and it's more of a heal over time that just builds up, so you can keep casting it on yourself like after each cooldown, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, I will. Sounds like we're done with our regular instances, but I think we're going to try and do a turtle raid run real quick. And that'll probably be the last thing, but I think our main group leader actually has to go, so we'll try and form the group with that. So water lore is level 77. Well, that's pretty high. That's even higher than I thought. I think I remember seeing that at one point and thinking it was higher than I thought, then I forgot it was even that high. But yeah, that'll be a big help once you get it, but you have quite a few levels to go with that. But again, in the meantime, you have things like Blinding Flash and something Bane. I don't remember the name of that skill. Bane, is it Flare? I feel like I should know the name of that skill. Bane Flare? Bane Flash? Something like that. Yeah, thanks. Anyway, I should probably go back to Moria on this character. I'm going to take a screenshot of that character's name. It's very close to another minstrel in my kin. There's a minstrel in my kin named Larry. It's actually Jindal here, his alt, who is a dwarf, but his name was Larius the Hobbit. Okay, so I am going to see... I actually don't know. The Lore Master and the Kinship, I don't know them. I don't recognize that name, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm going to try to search for a turtle because Baneflayer, that's what it's called. I don't remember if I said Baneflayer, but I think I did. I said like Baneflayer and Baneflash, I think, but yeah, that's what it's called. And that's the AoE days, which is very useful. Something I actually forget about that skill often playing my Lore Master. And then when I remember it, I'm like, oh, this is actually very useful when I get a little bit in over my head. Because one thing with the Lore Master I love doing is pulling like a bunch of enemies and then using all the good AoE spells, but sometimes I end up taking too much damage by the time I can use those. Oh, I'm going to disband the group and then re-invite everybody. Cannot disband here. What? I wonder if I have to individually dismiss everybody. Since I can't disband the Kinship, I can do that instead. Okay, so I'm going to invite everybody that was in the group before. They don't necessarily have to join. Oh, I didn't realize everybody left. We are going to be running Turtle, if you're interested. Oh, I want to run it anyway. I feel like I should have a better message, something more creative than just turtle. Some people call it turtle soup. I think there's usually a group of players, I think earlier in the day for me, that run it. Seem to consistently run it every day. There's always somebody like at some point searching for turtle soup. But we probably need, if we don't get a bunch of high levels, we'll probably need a few tanks. We actually have another person somewhat on level. But if we get a bunch of high levels, we won't necessarily need a tank. And if we get a bunch of low levels, I can tank. I'd rather have at least one more tank as a backup. Even though you can solo tank this, it's hard. You have to rely on in combat reses usually. But anyway, if we eventually get this group, that's pretty much all I have planned for today for the stream, is actually finishing out Turtle, then wrapping up the stream. But yeah, it might take a while to search for that. I don't really have anything to do, to be honest, while searching for it. So beginning of days, you said for you it adds risk to the game. You can't just do what I like. You got to always think of the creature too in a fight. Oh, of your creature, so your pet. Yeah, that's true with the Lore Master. Especially if you're doing tougher content, trying that on the Lore Master, I think it makes it even more interesting. So if there are some like solo, or not solo, but group landscape, these are medallions of Moria you can trade for these. I actually did not know that. I have a whole bunch of medallions of Moria that are just like being wasted because I don't have anything to spend them on. So I can get a whole bunch of relics if I wanted. Not even, that's actually tier 6 relics, but not even like a whole bunch. I could get almost 10 of those. I also don't know how many people are on right now on the server. It looks like 118, so this is actually not too busy for this server. I know this is an Aura legendary server. Usually there are at least some more people on though. Just unfortunately right now, there's not as many as there usually are, and maybe even out of that, not as many interested in like running Turtle. But eventually we might get some. I also don't want to spam the LFF chat, even though it's like nothing going on with it. Another person relatively on level, that's surprising. So Wolfmika, you asked how quickly do you get Moria medallions? So with those, you get I think 1 or 2 for every chest at the end of each boss in the instances, so over time they just have accumulated. I haven't spent them on anything, is how I've gotten so many, but kind of fairly quickly if you farm all the Moria instances and just like keep looting that stuff. We've run these, usually we do about 2 instances every week with our group. So only doing 2 instances every week, and usually like a challenge mode and maybe a regular run after that, like we did today with the Grand Stair. And that's pretty much how I've gotten all the medallions of Moria. I don't know how many weeks we've done it, maybe like 8 weeks or something like that. Not entirely sure, 8, 9, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, maybe even 2 or 3 months basically. So again, it's very awkward that I have nothing to do here besides search for more people for Turtle. Should probably also convert it to a raid at some point, which I'll do now. I would actually log on my Lore Master because you all got me interested in playing my Lore Master, but just logging in on it to check stuff, but I cannot do that while searching for a group, unfortunately. But on this character, I was going to go to Mirkwood, and he was going to quest through Mirkwood and do all that, but I just don't know if I'm too interested in doing that. I thought it would be fun to do level capped at 60 quest through Mirkwood, but they're just, ooh, we actually have quite a few people. Raid invite. That switched from, oh, they're in a private encounter. I'll give them a minute and try to invite again. I see the morale on the Beorning, that makes me suspect they're around level 60, and yep, they're 64. Wow. I'm just surprised with how many people have asked to join that. I guess I'll let them know they're in a private encounter. So what would that make it, 7? We have 6 right now, so 7. So with LOTRO Beginning of Days, you said you found a fellowship called Sons of Numenor. I'm guessing you mean a kinship, like a guild. A fellowship is a group, like... But with Sons of Numenor, you're all about the Numenorian culture. I actually don't know too much about the Numenorian, and you said that's what your YouTube channel is about. So in WoW, like World of Warcraft, it sounds like Sons of Numenor just like to do fashion shows. I'm surprised by that. They did no battles, just fashion shows. That's a little bit odd. So Wolfmika, you have 39 medallions of Moria from running Turtle Filical way back in the day, and that's the only time you've done raiding. So yeah, Turtle's a good fun raid that's pretty easy. If it's the only raid you've done, it's just like, it's one boss that's super simple, especially for a high level group. I think that's our first high level person, actually. First person that's at the level cap. A 95 captain. Alright, so I think we have 8 out of 12, and we still have somebody that is in a private encounter. I could actually go to my tells tab and do that a lot easier. But yeah, it looks like we have 6 of us in the group right now. This is our 8th person. Oops. No, I mean to invite them to the kinship. They're probably already in a kinship. I recognize that name. I wonder if I've run something with them before, but they're a little bit higher level 75, but now, how many people do we have in the group? 8? But yeah, 6, 7 out of 8 of the people in the group right here in the raid are like flexible, or at least have the different roles, the tank/healer roles covered. The important two. So beginning of days, you said the big difference in WoW and LOTRO is WoW guilds fight, LOTRO guilds walk the fashion runway. Oh, so it sounds like the Sons of Numenor and LOTRO did fashion shows and no battles. That actually makes a little bit more sense since as you mentioned, LOTRO guilds walk the fashion runway and WoW guilds fight, so that does make more sense in LOTRO to be that case. Because a lot of like players play for sometimes, what's that, 9? Is that somebody with 40,000 morale? That text is so small. I actually have these things scaled down for like the second raid group just because they are usually too big, but now that I'm playing at 1440p, that's like super small, and I can barely read that's 40,000. I actually don't know on the stream if anybody could actually read that, even if they're watching on the full 1440p. But I can inspect them to double check, and it's a level 95 champion, so I assume it's 40,000 and not like 4,000. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start the raid up. People don't have to enter. I think it's kind of weird. I'm just like basically reading the chat and running back and forth forming this group, but I'm actually, yeah, like running back and forth, just like walking, doing things while talking, even though I'm going nowhere and doing nothing really. It's kind of like in real life pacing. It's something like that, I think. Anyway, Ignacio, you said, is there any news about PvP or PvMP updates in the short, medium, or long term? So I think in the, I don't know if short term is the best to put this, but short to medium term, the update after update 28, I think they plan to buff creeps. And then I don't know, it sounds like there could be a longer, more major revamp of PvP or PvMP. I don't know really revamp's the right word, but it sounds like something like that could be in the works, but Standing Stone Games isn't really the best about communicating different things like that. I guess I'll do one more search. But yeah, unfortunately, I think PvMP, I don't think is fully neglected, but it is something that isn't updated very frequently. I guess I'll be in tank spec. We have one more person, so I think we're going to reset this once more. We had one more person that had to catch up. So I think we're actually good to go this time. Did not mean to jump on that. Oh, I think is that a cosmetic pet, perhaps? Thought I jumped on a hobbit by accident. So with Wolfmecca, you said it's funny when you see 12 minstrels running turtle soup, just 5 seconds of loud instruments and a dead turtle. It's probably 5 seconds of loud instruments and loud screams, unless the instruments somehow drown out the screams and shouts. But yeah, that would be pretty funny to see. I haven't actually seen that many minstrels. So Megalus Doomslayer, you said, wait, perma-bear? So, oops, actually just went out of bear form. So with the Beorning, with somewhat-ish recent rework, I didn't actually mean to force taunt, because normally I try to actually tank turtle, but I think that Hunter unfortunately is going to miss out, but not miss out on the loot. But hopefully they can still get some loot. So yeah, with the Beorning, you actually generate Wrath in bear form now. That was actually reworked quite a while ago. So you can just stay permanently in bear form pretty much if you wanted. And in the tank spec, the blue line here, I usually do stay in bear form. There are a couple of key things in man form, and sometimes when I run out of Wrath, you can build Wrath very quickly in man form and then switch like right back to bear form. Like I just built all the Wrath I needed and will still be generating some, then I can use all my Wrath consumers again. And even in bear form, it does passively generate some, and some of my skills generate Wrath, like Thrash is the main one, but also Vicious Claws gives me a little bit of Wrath. Armor Crush is a big consumer, Claw Swipe is, Menacing Maul is, and Recuperate has a bunch of Wrath consumers actually, and so does B-Swarm. Yep, thanks for seeing. And Bright Emblem of Nimrodel, that is the main thing I run this for. I'll roll on the Mithril Flake. That is our kin currency, I guess. Not like real currency, but the kinship's called the Mithril League, so we like Mithril, and Mithril Flakes are a part of that. Anyway, that's just a fun, like, real quick boss to run, especially while on level. We weren't a fully on level group, but we actually had quite a few people somewhat on level, and I can get the build up towards my first stage. LI. Going to go ahead and leave the fellowship. Yeah, I'm one away too. Yeah, so trying to catch up with the chat. So Ignacio, you said you just can't understand why the devs don't understand the potential of the PvMP for different areas of the game. Yeah, so that's something I think a lot of players would be interested in, but I think they even added like an Osgiliath PvMP zone, and I don't think that worked out too well. At least for me, it was something I was actually a little bit interested in, but then after a while I was just like no interest in trying something like that. But I think what was I saying? I think, yeah, it could be fun to have PvMP in different areas. It could be an exciting thing if there was like an actual reason to go to these different areas. Right now it's pretty much confined to Eton Moors, even though there technically is a second zone. I think Osgiliath, again, if I remember correctly, I don't even know too much about that. But anyway, Megalus, you said the last time you played a Beorning, you had to try hard to stay in bear form. So one thing with that I don't really like about the red line is that it actually oftentimes is good to stay in man form. You like go to bear form for a few specific skills, and I think with a two-hander and with the proper legacies, you sometimes stay in bear form a little bit more. We actually do a lot of damage in man form, and then you have a few strong skills in bear form, but otherwise staying in man form and building Wrath. But with like a tank Beorning, you can stay in bear form for a long time, and yeah, it's a little bit easier to stay in bear form for a long time with them, basically. And then the Master X-Man, we actually just finished, and that actually brings me to the point that that is all I have for this stream. So I do not need a level 65 Burglar, unfortunately. And we just finished Turtle, if you're like specifically interested in joining that. But anyway, I'm just once again running around here pacing, doing nothing. I really don't know on this character. I think I was as I mentioned, thinking about doing Mirkwood at level 60, but I just have so many different things going on in this game, and just so many different things I'm trying to get to, that would stretch me way too thin to try to do another like zone playthrough. That's why I haven't done other ones, like I mentioned North Downs and just some other zones that wanted to go through Wildermore on my Guardian. There are just so many different things I want to do in this game, and so many like actual quest play sessions I want to do. But right now, as far as quests go, I'm focused on Louisden going through Wells of Langflood, and I'm enjoying that on him, so I want to at least finish that first as like my regular zone playthroughs type things. And otherwise, I also have Westerohan on my Runekeeper, who I'm like way behind on, so I definitely want to keep that up on him and try to get through all of that. So anyway, that's kind of the, I guess, outlook for this character, pretty much just playing him to do these instances, which is fun. It's actually one of my favorite things to do, and like, we do it every week. It's one of my favorite things of the week to do this. I have a lot of fun running through these Moria instances, and just with this progression group, playing with my kin and streaming it and all that, it's super fun to me. But anyway, as far as this stream goes, as I mentioned, I had a lot of fun. We ran through, what did we run through? We went through the Grand Stair, did the challenge mode, then did like a full clear. Well, actually I do need to repair again, and I need to sell, but yeah, we did the full clear with that, and then we did the Forges of Khazad-dûm. Had a couple people get lost. That was fun, helping them navigate a little bit. Oh, they actually are in a kin Way of the Tortoise and are level capped at 60 as well. We are not in that kinship, but we have a progression group capped at level 60. But anyway, yeah, that was all a lot of fun, so I hope you all enjoyed it as well. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, or becoming a channel member to support the content. And thanks for joining.